Okay, finally. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and apologies on some of the technical issues that we are facing. So we are just starting a little bit late. But really, thank you for staying around and sticking around, and welcome to our second technical workshop that's happening for the Polkadot Hackathon Asia Pacific Edition. Today we have Jimmy together with us, who will be running through on the open runtime module library to help you kind of like save time while you're writing common substrate runtime logics. So I've actually shared in the chat earlier on a Google Slides that you can refer to as Jimmy is going through the slides accordingly as well. And as and when, if you need any help or any questions with regards to the content that Jimmy is running, do feel free to drop a question within the chat or just simply ask a question and we'll get to you along the way as well. All right. So right now, without further ado, let me just pass the time to Jimmy. Jimmy, please.
All right. Thanks, Justin. So I'll share my screen. So once I get to here, I won't be able to see all the any questions and chat in the crowdcast screen anymore. So it will be just the Google slide. I've heard from Justin that you guys may have seen me a few times already, either in the mental office hour or quite a few times before. So the good news is the next week, so it will be another one that is delivering the technical workshop. So you don't have to see my face all the time, right? So this is the first good news. And then so let's get to the actual topic, is using the ORML to save time when writing your substrate common logic, right? So today I'll just present two simple topics. One is an introduction, an overview of what the ORML is, and then another one is I have write a relatively simple demo of using an ORML to do a multi-currency swap, right? Hopefully it can help you on some, like when you are working on the hackathon project. Hopefully it can inspire you. Okay, so ORML actually stands for the Open Runtime Module Library, right? And this is the URL to the GitHub. So you can click on it and then see it by yourself. They are mainly contributed by Akala developers, and Akala is one of the major team in our ecosystem, and they have also win the parachain slot for in the Kusama, right? But these libraries, although like mainly contributed by them, but it is open for all of us to use, right? So there are quite a lot of palettes that can be taken out and used individually to like enrich your own runtime logic. So I'll just introduce a few here. The first one is ORML currencies. These modules will enable you to have your runtime to support multiple currencies. So if you are doing an exchange, definitely you need to have your runtime be able to support multiple currencies, right? Other than just the native tokens. And then, but this palette, ORML currency, depends on the ORML tokens. So the ORML token is another palette that is written in the libraries. So it's actually extend the palette balance from the substrate built-in palettes. So this enables having a balance of having the balance of multiple, keeping tracks of the balance of multiple currencies in this ORML tokens palette. And then there's also another ORML NFT libraries that's actually enable you to easily create an NFT class and mint NFT. Like if your hackathon project is about like NFT implementing some kind of NFT logic, so this ORML NFT is definitely one of the library that you want to take a look at and see if it could save your time. And then the another one is the ORML Oracle. It helps this palette. So actually simplify. It has already implemented some logics to interact with external services. So if you need to contact external services, or if you need to aggregate some results so that it could give an Oracle kinds of result back on chains. This is the library you want to take a look at. It has already some logic implemented there, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the last one, actually not the last one, but the next one is ORML vesting. So if you need to implement some kind of token distribution with vesting schedules, they already have a logic there, so you can take a look, see for your reference. And there are a lot of other libraries inside as well, so definitely check it out. All right. So this is a caveat of using the ORML. If you look at the cargo.toml inside the ORML libraries, you will see that the dependency, for example, this substrate primitive std and substrate primitive runtime. This is a cargo.toml that I just extract from one of their libraries. They are depending on the substrate, but it is not the monthly that we use. The monthly 2021 November or 2021 October. They are not using that. Which all of if you are developing your substrate runtime based on a node template, we are using the monthly tag. But they are not using the monthly tag. They are using the Polkadot release branch. So if you are integrating ORML into your node templates or your node templates, change this back to what your original node template is depending on. So it should be the monthly tag. The reason that they are depending on this Polkadot release tag is because they are actually using these libraries in their own parachain, like in their own production running chains that connect to Kusama or Polkadot and Polkadot. So they are depending it on the Polkadot release change and not the monthly. Right. So this is a caveat. If you don't change it, there will be some very weird error that you may not just some kind of weird error that you may have no clue about. So if you so this is the issue that you need to be aware of. All right. So with the caveat away, so let's take a look at let's take a look at an example, right? Using the ORML libraries. So let's there's a multi-currency swap, and this example is already in this GitHub repository here. You can take a look at it and git clone and look at the source code. So if we think of a swap from a very, very simple perspective, right? Like from the most simplest perspective, what do we do, right? So there could be just so for example, user A could submit an order. For example, I have Bitcoin. I want to exchange 100 Bitcoin for 1,000 Ethereum, right? Something like this. So it would just be like the from currency quantity, then the to currency and the to currency quantity. Like this is a submit order. So this is this will be one of the extrinsic API, and then other users can see all the open order there. So this is an order book. Like everyone can see all the open order there. Then another user can come in and say, I like that order, and I'm okay with the exchange rate. So the user B could come in and then say, take the order. Then the money, so there will be like two tokens exchanged to each other, right? And at the same time, when user A is doing a submit order, we would actually hold a reserve of the amount so that he would not say he is trying to, like in the previous example I'm saying, so it is like 100 BTC for 1,000 ETH. Like if she doesn't have enough BTC, she won't be able to create that order, right? And we also don't want the case that she originally has enough BTC, but then she spent some of it so that her balance is less than 100 BTC, but then she still have the order open, and then someone can take it. When someone take the order, she doesn't have enough of the BTC to do the exchange. So we want to reserve, or we want to reserve that amount for the order, right? So a user could submit an order, and then another user could take the order. And of course, finally, the original user who submitted the order could cancel the order. She changed her mind and then cancel the order, right? So this would be the API submit order. So, and who is it from? The from currency ID, from currency quantity, and then a to currency ID, to currency quantity. And then there's a take order. So each order, once submitted on chain, there will be an order ID. And then other people could see the order, they're okay with the exchange rate, and then they take the order. And finally, the owner, and only the owner, could cancel the order if the order is still open. It hasn't been matched yet, right? So this is the simplest swap you can think of, right? But and it's still like function as a swap, right? All right. So let's take a look at the data structure and storage. So what will actually store on chain, like when we say an order? So the order, it will be consist of the owner. So it will be an account ID, and then the from C stands for currency. So currency ID. So it will be like from currency ID, and then the amount, the quantity will be from balance. It could probably be better named like, yeah, but it's called from balance now. And then to CID, to currency ID, and then a to balance. And finally, the status. Status is the order status, whether it is still open or it has been canceled or it has already been matched. Right? And then executed with, we can see that is an option of a account ID. So it could either be none, meaning that it is still an open order, that it hasn't been matched yet, or it is an account that if it has been matched. And then created at on created at. Created at is where the order is actually created, when the order is actually created. It is a block number. And if it is canceled, it will record the time. Basically, in the blockchain, we use a block number to indicate a time, like when it happened. It happened at a certain block number, and we can pretty much track, like that's an indication of time when we use a block number here. So when it is canceled, like it's canceled at a certain block number, and when it's executed at a certain block number. Right. Okay, and then this is order status, right? The order status that is shown here. The status. So it's just alive, executed, cancelled. All right, so we can take a look at the demo now. I already have the chain running in my background, right? And I have this Polkadot.js app open. Right, let's take a look at the chain state first. You see that Alice is rich, right? Like because we are running in the dev node, so Alice is rich. She has 1.15 million units of native currency, and then Bob also the same, and then Charlie is done, right? First, let's give Charlie some amount of the native token, like say 10. Right, so he got a 10 unit of the native token. So this is the usual stuff that you would also have in when running a Substrate node template. All right. Now let's look at the chain state. We have this exchange. We have this exchange, right? Oh, I actually want to. Let me show you something else. Like tokens. We have this palette called token. And if we look at the account and we look at Alice, first Alice, and then here we have 4 currency here running in the chain: native, dot, KSM, and BTC. And dot, I believe, okay, let's not input this currency ID so that it will display all the balance amount. So basically, Alice has a KSM of like this amount. It is like the initial. It is the initial value, the same initial value as a native token of Alice, and her native token amount is this one, right? Like 1.1529 million units. And the token for Charlie, right? Let's take a look first. Charlie would not have any currency. He has nothing. So he is initialized to have no token at all for any of the currency, no tokens, and then we transfer 10 units of the native token from Alice to Charlie, right? Just now. Now we will submit an order. So Alice in the exchange, she would submit an order. So saying she want to get some KSM from the native. Actually, it would be better if she get some KSM to add to the native, because Charlie only has the native token, right? What I want to do is having Alice create an order and then Charlie to match the order. Charlie only has the native currency, right? So Alice is the one that has both the native currency and the KSM. So let's say this is the exchange rate she proposed. 2, 3, 3. Right? And then like this. So she would submit an order. Right. Now let's see what the chain state is. The state on the chain. You look at exchange, order. Now we will see this data structure is created, right? The same as the data structure we showed in the slide just now. So the owner, this is the Alice account. And then from the KSM to native, this is the balance. From like this is 10 billion to 1 billion from KSM to native, right? And then the status is alive. It is still open. It hasn't been executed yet. It is created on the block number of 479. It hasn't been canceled. It hasn't been executed. Right? It has the executed with is like with whom it is executing with, like nobody. Like it is still an open order, right? Now we will have Charlie to match this order to and this is the order ID 0, right? So let's now do an extrinsic. We will use Charlie exchange to take the order of order 0, right? And his free balance is like 10 unit. Hopefully he got enough. All right. So you see that his balance has been deducted from 10 to 9.998. And let's take a look at Charlie tokens. Right. Just now he got nothing, right? Now let's see. Now he got some KSM. That order has been matched, and then the tokens has been transferred. Charlie transfers some native token to Alice, and then Alice transferred the KSM to Charlie, right? And if we look at Alice account, she got some of the but the issue is she got a lot of KSM at the beginning, right? But anyway, her KSM has been deducted, right? And let's take a look at the order, right? And now the state of the order has changed. You see that it has, from alive, it changed to executed. And it is executed with, this is Charlie account. And it's created at block 79 and block 479, and then it's executed at block 496. And there's no cancel. Yeah, it's just executed. So this is this is the core logic of this simplistic swap happening here. All right. So next we will have a brief walkthrough of the palette logic. Yeah, it should be brief. I promise. So don't be too worried about it. Okay, this is the ORML. I will enlarge. So this is the ORML exchange, and if you want to look at the code yourself, you could come to this example, this URL in GitHub. All right. So here, palette exchange. This is an exchange that we went through just now. You would see that there's this order data structure here. We went through that already. And there are some kind of error, different kind of error. But you would see that the logic is actually not very, very difficult. So this is a submit order. First of all, it ensures that it is a signed transaction, ensure sign. We check that it is not from one currency to another. Like, it's not exchanging for the same currency, but with different. We are checking for that. It's not the same currency. Otherwise, we will return an error like same to from currency. And then we are checking that like there's no balance, is 0. Otherwise, basically the token are just missing, or is like getting token out of nothing. Yeah. And then we get the next order ID, which is basically just an order ID but incrementing from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first order is actually having an order ID of 0. The next one will be 1. And then we try to mutate. We are trying to increment the order ID by 1, save it back so that next time we know that it has been incremented. And then here, T currency reserve. If you have attended the technical workshop on the last week, I talked about like how it is using the loosely coupling methods of connecting the currency in the runtime. So this is using that loosely coupling method that of connections. We will go into this deeper soon. And then we have a T currency ::reserve. So this is reserving the amount. This is not transferring, but actually like blocking or holding the certain amount from the from his balance, so that it's no longer free. So when Alice is saying 10 billion from 10 billion of the KSM to 1 billion of the native, we were actually reserving that amount from her account. So this is the logic. And then we insert this, we create an order, new alive order. This from here. It's just a new order. And we insert it in the map. And finally, we append it. This is so we know that who is the owner of the order, right? And we deposit the event. So he made an event here, order submitted. So this is pretty simple, right? Submit order. And then take order. We can take a look. Cancel order is really simple. Like we just check that the order is still alive. It is not executed. It is not canceled already. And then it is also the owner. And then we can change the order status there. So this is very simple, cancel order. And now let's take a look at the take order. Okay. in the take order, we check that it is assigned to transactions, and then we check that the order status have to be alive. If it has been canceled or it has been executed, we would return order not available to execute, right? So this makes sense. And then we will check that the user has enough of the free balance, right? The user who want to take order has enough of the balance. Otherwise, we would return not enough balance, right? So given that the order is alive, and then the user also has enough of the balance, so we will do all this in the transactions. And the logic in here basically is transferring amounts from A to B, and then secondly transferring the another, like the second currency from B to A, and this is API to do it here. If either of the transaction fail, we will do a transaction rollback. So it's like a database that it will roll back everything, and then no change happens there. And finally, we will save this. We will update the order, the data structure of the order, and then save it back on chain. So we update the executed with, executed at, like who it is executed with, and then at what block number it is executed at. And finally, we update the order status to become executed, right? So this is like a basic walkthrough on the exchange here. Now, but actually, the tricky part is happening in the integration of runtime, right? So this one you see that is T currency, but what is this currency, right? We would go back to here. You will see that the config trade, this is again like trade bound by the frame system config. So this is the usual stuff. This is the same as what is in the node templates. And you see that there's a type event so that it could emit event. And this is also the usual stuff. And then there's also a currency here. This is something new. This currency is trade bound by a multi-reservable currency. So from the name, you could like infer that like there are multiple currencies. Like within this single currency, there are multiple currency there, and then they are reservable. That's why we could say reserve that amount from the wallet to kind of lock it, right? And this multi-reservable currency is coming from the ORML. It's coming from the ORML library, right? Okay, so let's take a look at how the runtime is actually implementing this trade, and then how the runtime connect everything together, like connecting the ORML with this pallet exchange. So let's look at this. So we will first implement the pallet exchange, right? Pallet exchange. You see that there's also an NFT because initially I also want to show an NFT example, but I don't have enough time to complete this. So I could only show you like doing a simple exchange, like multiple currency swap here. There's this pallet exchange. So it's look very simple, like type event equal event. This event is defined on top. This is defined. Oops. Well, this is actually coming from a macro. But let's go back to here. And then currencies is like type currency equal currencies. And these currencies is coming from the construct runtime here. That these currencies. And this currency is the ORML currency here. So you see that so it is in this way that we pass these ORML currencies into the pallet exchange. And then let's take a look. So the runtime, we also have to implement the ORML currency trade. And here you could see that that's why we have this. We implement the ORML currency config trait here. So this is also the usual like type event equal event, and then the type multi-currency is equal tokens. And if we take a look at this tokens, it is actually coming from the runtime of ORML tokens. Right? So we see that the pallet exchange is depending on the ORML currencies, and then the ORML currencies also depends on the ORML tokens here. So it passes in the ORML token here, and then the native currencies is from the basic currencies adapter, and finally the get. Here we have the get native currency ID, which is this one, and this get native currency ID is actually defined here. And where do we define the currency ID, right? So the currency ID is actually defined a little bit on the top. We have this currency ID. So you see, that's where we see the currency that this chain is actually supporting native dot, KSM, and BTC that you see when you are doing exchange. That when you take a look at the tokens in here, it is actually the currency ID. So the currency ID is getting passed into the ORML token, which is getting passed in the ORML currency, and which is getting passed in the pallet exchange here. And finally, the existential deposit. So yeah, so there are some other types here, but I just want to like demonstrate like this is a chain of dependencies that happens here, and that's probably the trickiest part of this. Like when using ORML libraries or when using any other external libraries, basically you have to like from the runtime, you probably have to set up this dependency tree in the runtime. And with this example, you'll see that like a two nested dependency here, like from a pallet exchange, depending on the ORML currency, depending on the ORML exchange, ORML token here. So this is about the runtime in. Oh, and finally, actually, so the ORML tokens actually also depends on the ORML traits there. And if you take a look at the ORML currency tokens, you will also see ORML traits. So there are these dependency here. All right. All right. I guess this is the example of the multi-currency swaps, and that is pretty much it. That's pretty much it of the examples and also the introduction of the ORML. But I think this is a good time to answer some questions. Yeah, let me take a look. Yeah, screen sharing. Oops.
All right. While Jimmy gets to the question, let me just quickly share my screen. And yeah, so for those who are just joining us, just let me share my screen. For those who are just joining us for the hackathon or who are pretty much new to the Polkadot Hackathon series, basically Polkadot Hackathon has a global series where we are kind of like starting in Asia Pacific, and of course, these technical workshops that's actually happening on every Friday is actually one of the efforts to really get you guys either started on the journey of developing on Substrate, especially if you are really new to either the blockchain space or Polkadot as an individuals. Of course, for those who have been within the Polkadot ecosystem for quite a fair bit, I guess it's just really kind of like a refresher and also a great opportunity for you to ask any questions with the mentors that are actually available, such as Sacha and Jimmy and everyone else that's around, and of course to kind of like trade your thought process and just exchange thoughts and ideas as well. So before we kind of like end today's session, I'm just going to briefly bring you through some of the important information that you need to know for the hackathon. And I thought it would be great as well if anyone has any questions with regards to the hackathon to to ask me as well, and I'll be happy to answer. So So for the hackathon itself, there's actually basically three threads for you to participate in. One is building a blockchain, basically anything that you would like to build using Substrate, feel free to do so. And of course, for those who prefer to build tools, you do have the OpenHack track that you can participate in. And last but not least, for those who are not that savvy in in terms of coding and all, and if you are someone who is really sharp in getting the pieces together, writing documentations, the third track, Docathon, will be something that you'll be interested in. Generally, it's about writing a how-to or a tutorial and guide for people to get better acquainted with existing Polkadot projects as well. So some of the event schedule that we have lined up for you, apart from technical workshops that is happening on every Friday, and we have 3 more left. We do have the Hackerspace, which is a virtual space that's actually open for you, just like how we would be in a physical hackathon, for you to come in to meet your teams, to discuss your projects, or even to make new friends while you are in this community together as well. And we do have mentor office hours. Both of them are happening every Wednesday, with Hackerspace opening at 3 p.m. Singapore time, and the mentor office hours that happens at 9 p.m. Singapore time. We do have a trivia night that's happening tomorrow. Do check out the hackathon calendar, which will have the link to access to. But generally, we are going to meet at the Hackerspace just for a time of trivia, answering some fun questions, and the top 10 people will actually get the Hackathon Premium swag box as well. So do come over if you would like to have an opportunity to win some swags for yourself, and just to network and meet new people. So I do know that some of the people are kind of like asking how do you actually form teams. Of course, I will encourage you to really be on the Polkadot Discord channel, where there is a hackathon team formation kind of chat, where you can kind of like drop note to tell people more about yourself, or if you're particularly looking out for specific roles within your team, do feel free to use the Discord channel to find people. And of course, on the participants guide, you are able to find free agents, meaning people who have indicated that they would like to join the team, to actually find individuals that you would like to get connected to, and to add them into your team. So how do you find a team? For those who have get connected with members within existing team and you would like to join them, basically what you can do is just to go to the free agents directory and click on register to join an existing team, to make sure that you will complete the form that will appear on your screen. And once you have clicked join team, you will your name will be transferred to the team's directory, and you will have successfully joined a team of your choice. Of course, along the way, for those team leaders and especially team leaders, this is a call out to you. Make sure that once your team is full, and in Polkadot Hackathon case, we do have a maximum of 4 team members that we are allowing within each team. I'll applaud you to click on update team profile and make sure that you have indicated that your team is currently full so that no other teams can accidentally join yours as well. Do remember that at all times, every member within the team needs to spell the team name correctly, and that includes the proper casing, any spacing or special characters that might be. Just make sure that it's all exactly the same. If you happen to find out that you don't belong to the same team as other members when you are supposed to be, just make sure that you go to the teams directory and click on update team name and make sure that you have indicated the correct spelling and capitalization of the team name to make sure that you fall in the same team as your team members. Once you have completed the process, under the teams directory, you should find yourself being on the same team as the rest. So no hackathon will be successful without the help of mentors. Introducing the 7 mentors who will be available, whether being on Discord or during mentor office hours, to kind of like answer any of your questions that you would have with regards to the hackathon, be it project ideas, be it coding, be it writing documentations or how-to guide. These mentors are available to help you answer any of your questions at any point of time. Of course, there are a couple of ways that you can reach out to them. First of all, would definitely be mentors office hours. On the participant guide and even the hackathon calendar itself, you will notice that there is 2 steps that you need to do. One is to secure a slot with the mentors using a booking system. That will bring you to a Google Sheet where you need to put in your where the team leader will need to put in their name and their Discord ID so that we can reach out to them as necessary. And then to meet the mentors at the hackerspace, which is on the Gather Town link at the stipulated timing. Do note that each of the time slot with a mentor is capped at 15 minutes and do come in with any of the questions that you have for the mentors. Other ways that you can actually reach out to the mentors are definitely the Polkadot Hackathon Discord channel. Over there, the mentors are all on Discord and you can directly mention them at the Hackathon Technical channel. Of course, these are the Slack IDs of all the mentors that you would like to reach out to, just in case you would like to just drop them a personal note for questions. I do understand that for mentor office hours, 9 p.m. Singapore time might be a little bit too late for some people. Just in case you would like to have an alternate arrangement with the mentors, do feel free to either drop them an email or a Slack message to kind of like make a side arrangement with them. Their emails are actually available on the booking system as well. So just make sure to just check it out if you have to make an alternate arrangement with the mentors. But do note that this will be based on the earliest convenience of the mentors and they will help you along the way as and when they can. So apart from the mentors, there is actually a Polkadot Pathways that is curated specifically for this hackathon. What it has are 3 components of hackathon: learn and build, and generally the objective is really to get you acquainted about the hackathon and to learn and build on Substrate itself. So do head over there because while you are going through the challenges, you will actually be gaining points and top 50 points, top 50 participants with the most points will actually earn themselves is hackathon swag boards as well. And closer to the date, we will share with you, some of the items that you will be getting as well. So while you're working on a project, I believe it's really important for you to understand what are the judging criteria. For build a blockchain and OpenHack, they basically are judged with 4 same criteria. 1, the impact and usefulness of the project. 2, the originality of the project. 3, its technical complexity. And 4, the user experience, whether or not the UI UX is carefully thought out for the user as well. The Docathon, on the other hand, has a slightly different criteria, only because the content of the work that is submitted is a little bit different. The 4 criteria that is being marked against are clarity of what you're writing, the examples and resources that you are directing bringing up as use cases, the goals of this documentation or how to guide that you're writing, and last but not least, the overview, what's the scope of a how to guide or tutorial that you're actually writing as well. While you're working on the projects, do remember that there are required artifacts that you need to submit to the platform, and by next week we will be releasing to you where you will be submitting your project artifacts, and you can submit them along the way as and when you're ready as well. For those who are working on Build a Blockchain and OpenHack, just remember that key information will definitely be a title of the project that you're working on, which includes the summary as well, just a brief description of what it is. And do mention which of the category that you are submitting the project for. Most importantly, you definitely need a GitHub repo link, and I'll recommend that just only the team leader should be the one that's submitting all these for your team member to avoid any duplication. And you will need to come up with a 3 to 5 minutes pitch video that talks about your project and show a quick demonstration of what you have built, so that it gives the judges a better context of what you have done so far. And definitely to mention a list of tech stack that has been used throughout this project as well. Most importantly, if in any case your demo or your project has been deployed, do submit a project demo link for the teams as well. For the Docathon track, on the other hand, you will need to mention the project title that the documentation is actually based on. We do understand that for how to guide or tutorial, you will definitely be basing in on a Polkadot related project that will potentially be deployed, or those that may not have been deployed so far. So do let us know what you are basing your documentation on, and also to write out a description of what you are doing for. Of course, a GitHub repo link, just so that you can upload all the documentations that you have written. Do note that some of the documentation that you have written can be published on a public site, but do make sure that you have consolidate them and posted it on the GitHub link as well. Similarly, if the project that you are writing a tutorial or how to guide for is already deployed, please do share with us the project demo link as well. Couple of rules that you need to take note of during the entire hackathon. The submission deadline is actually on 12th of December, which is about a month away from now, and the deadline is 11:55 p.m. Singapore time. That means that if you are at Central Europe time right now, it will be about 4:55 p.m. Your time, and for IST it will be 9:25 p.m. Do not submit projects that are not created by you, and in any case, if you're using any existing project for whatever reason, especially for the Docathon, do give credit to the project, and do check the licensing of any public repository as well. Lastly, what we are going to emphasize is the fresh code rule. All submissions must be written during the hackathon during the period of 22nd of October to 12th of December as well. So how do you get started? First of all, for those who are currently in today's session and you have not registered for the hackathon, please scan the QR code and to register yourself. Why do I keep saying that? It's because if you happen to belong to any of the team, all team members needs to be registered in order for the projects to be valid upon submission and to qualify for the prizes as well. And of course, great resources will be provided the moment you register. We do have resources that you can read up on, that you can make reference to, and all the other additional access are actually available on the participants guide the moment you register. So I do encourage you to do so. For those who have registered, please follow the next 3 steps if you have not already done so. One is actually to join the Polkadot Discord channel and to save the hackathon calendar, and also to head over the Polkadot pathways, to get yourself better acquainted about Substrate. But if not, to kind of like get some points for you, just so that you can get some swag. Of course, all this information can be found on the participants guide that have been sent to your inbox the moment you have registered. So just make sure you do so. And if you need any help, do reach out to us accordingly as well. So throughout the entire case of Hackathon, there will be 4 names that you probably have to remember, or you will keep hearing all the time. My name is Justin, and I am the project manager for this hackathon, and I am from AngelHack. Along with me will be Harish, who is our platform and community lead, also from AngelHack, and 2 other person that you'll hear most of the time. One of them is definitely Jimmy, who has shared in today's session. He is an engineer from Parity and also one of our mentors as well. And last but not least, Urban, who is unable to join us today, but he's from Web3 and he's also one of the key organizers for this hackathon as well. So before we end in today's session, just giving you a couple more minutes or some opportunities to ask any questions if you have, but just letting you know that the session will be on replay over here, and the videos will actually be available on both Web3 Foundation and AngelHack's YouTube channel as well, where you can look at past sessions as well. On AngelHack channel, we have created a playlist specifically for Polkadot Hackathon. So over there, you can actually refer to the past sessions that actually took place, even from before the hackathon begins, where we share a little bit more about the vision from Polkadot and Parity Technologies, on what they are kind of like expecting from the hackathon, just in case you need some ideas to kind of like spark your project as well. And of course, we have a more detailed version of the hackathon rules and all when we did the opening ceremony as well, right? So we will just leave the session on. Once it's on replay, you can still continue to drop your questions, and some of us will just be replying along the way as well. Last but not least, really thank you, Jimmy, for taking the time to share with us all that you have today, and I do hope that the participants will be able to walk away with a little bit more understanding of Substrate. Do you have any last words for everyone before we end the session today?
Just in case you have any questions, we can continue a discussion in the Discord. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And good luck on your work. Yeah.
Yes. So we are actually halfway through the hackathon. We are around 3 to 4 more weeks left to the hackathon. So all the best to everyone, and please make full use of all the sessions and resources that are available to help you get going with your projects. You don't have to wait till the mentors office hours to meet the mentors. Always feel free to drop your questions on the technical channel, and reach out to the mentors as and when you need help as well. All right. So once again, thank you everyone for taking time to join us in today's session, and looking forward to see you tomorrow at the Trivia Night and Networking session, which is going to happen at 9 p.m. Singapore time as well. Do refer to the hackathon calendar on the access, and a reminder will be dropped on Discord channel as well. So for those who are able to join us, let your hair down, put aside the projects for just a while, and get some opportunity to win yourself some swag by being top 10 for the Trivia Night. And then we will see you again next week on Wednesday at the Hackerspace. And also a technical workshop.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Please have a good day ahead for those who are just starting today. And for those, good night and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.